Happy Halloween, ladies and gents. So I'm an Aussie, so it's not that big a deal here, Halloween, but I know I've got a lot of American viewers. In fact, I've got more American viewers than anywhere else, which is quite surprising to me. I guess the Americans love the opal. I'm just going to show you quickly. This won't be a huge series. I'm not much of an artist myself, so this is going to be a rare series. So episode 1 might be the only episode for quite a while, but just a little bit of Dremel art. I was inspired by someone on Facebook who, in one of the Dremel groups that I follow, because I love following Dremel groups, people do amazing stuff, he made a little jack-o'-lantern style thing from a monster can. And yeah, I thought it was pretty cool, and because we carve opal on the channel, I never get to use these metal cutting bits. I've only used it once in relation to opal. Actually no, twice. I had to cut the head off a nail at one point that I'd accidentally welded onto an opal. That's a whole nother story. But we never get to use these, so I thought, you know what? It looked cool. I reckon I could do it, and it turned out quite well. And it's not even hard. So we'll dive straight in. All you need to do is, and I learnt from my mistake of the first one that I did, cut out the bottom here, but rather than cutting it flush with something like here on the outside, like the edge of the label, cut inside here. So along this edge. It's a little bit thicker and harder to get through, but trust me, it is well and truly worth it. So you just want to cut along that kind of ridge. It gives the can a lot more stability when it's standing up, and the candle fits nicely inside if you get one of those little tea candle kind of things that I use. And yeah, basically all the inside, all of that, my lighting's not great, all of that gone. Now it is really thick along this little edge here, so you do want to take your time, go slow, all that kind of stuff. We're cutting metal with a metal cutting bit here, so another key factor is glasses. I didn't have any experiences of anything sharp getting shot at me, or at least not that I noticed, but there's always a chance that you could get like a small metal fragment, and that thing's going to fly at you at a hell of a speed, and it will tear up your eyes, something shocking. So yeah, definitely, especially when you're doing this part here, make sure you're well protected. I actually used the shield the first time I did it because I didn't know how it would go, but it really isn't too bad. Now the front here, that's the part that we'll mainly focus on. I mean the bottom, really easy, just cut it out, throw it out, it's gone. I think here's the base and the front sections that I cut out here, just put it into the base. It's a handy little holder. So yeah, cut that out, and then all you're doing is basically cutting out this monster symbol. So the way I did it is actually really simple. Straight line down the guts, straight line across the top, and you form a bit of a T. And you do the same here, so a bit of a T with that line going all the way down. Yep, that is as straight as an arrow. This one all the way down. Beautifully straight. And a little T. So you're just cutting that out with your rotary tool. Basically, with your bit, nice and straight. It's nice and thin, so you can get through real fast. Just straight in, all the way down. Cut the T. Do the same for the other 3. Now one other thing that I stuffed up the first time I did it was, if you notice the monster symbol on these cans, those are actually linked there. So they've got that link. Don't cut all the way through that, because these bits here that you're leaving on, they're fairly rigid, but at the same time it's really thin aluminium, and you can see here just from the packaging and handling, they have bowed in a little bit, and that'll actually curl if you cut all the way through. So just leave a little bit, just pretend that the black is kind of just linked up over there. There it is linked up, so just stick to that, maybe make sure that it's more obvious like that. And then yeah, basically cut those lines. It's not very exciting, so I'll just do it quickly off camera and we'll be back in a sec. Bam, and there you have it. So that only took 3.5 minutes for me to do these, so 1 and a bit minutes for each of the symbols. Now you've got to do the final part, and the final part is, I mean, you could do it simply with your Dremel and just cut the angles out, but if you want to really follow some of these finer lines, or you want to kind of riff on it yourself, all I did because it was thin enough, is, not sponsored, but Leatherman. The Leatherman is the tool for all jobs, and these scissors are actually really simple and straightforward to use. They get through the metal like nothing. It's like butter. Bam. And you just go along and you just cut along to these bits. I cut it out into little chunks and little segments, as you can see from that little bowl of offcuts that I've got here. So yeah, it's as simple as that. Just use those holes that you've created to give your blade a little bit of an opening to get in, and then you're simply just going along and cutting to where you want it. And you go along and you do that for the whole thing, and you end up with something that looks a bit more like this, which is the one. This is a little bit rough. Be a little gentle with it. I guess you don't see it in the dark and you just see the light coming through, so it doesn't matter too much. You can see there I've left it linked there and left it linked just there. And you'll get your nice little monster jack-o'-lantern. Now you can do, you could do the mule part as well. That's just the name of the flavour that I bought, the ginger beer one. I only like ginger beer, and that was the only reason I bought it. You can actually do things like the monster. I did it on my first one and didn't like the way it looked, because the light, the little tea light that we use, where have I put him? Here he is. Boom, little tea light. You can see that it's only about the same size as the base. So it just slots right in there. And because of where the flame sits, I thought that the mule was definitely, like, you could see the flame just sitting here. And here it kind of didn't look like I wanted it to. So I just wanted this to be dancing with the flame. So yeah, it just fits in there nicely like that. And you got yourself a little monster jack-o'-lantern. So, a little bit of fun. Be careful with the edges. So on this one, because I quickly redid a second one, on this one it's pretty jagged still, it's pretty sharp. Same with the base, but that's another good reason for having that cut along that inner edge. You can't catch yourself on that. But if you want to, you can actually just get your diamond bits out and just brush off the outer edge if you've got, I don't know, kids running around or something and you're worried about what they'll do with the sharp edge. Just trim those back and you'll be fine. And you can stick much closer to those lines than I did. I did it pretty rough and choppy because I kind of wanted it to look that way, and I think it looks pretty good. If you want it more smooth or whatever, go for it. Just go on, carry on. You could either get like a Coke can and draw a stencil on it and do the same thing. Just cut a nice spot for your clippers to get in. You can get like little tin snips or something as well, and just go to town. Just carve it out. So yeah, Dremels are useful for other things other than just opal. Who would have thought? Hopefully I've released this a couple days before Halloween, so you've got a chance to quickly whip one together. It probably takes, cutting out the bottom takes the longest because of that thickness. But, you can get one of these done in 15 odd minutes. So, yeah, have a bit of fun with it. Make your own stencils, and if you do, just send me pictures and I'll check them out. But that'll do it for this video. I'll see you in the next one where I will be carving a boulder opal, most likely this one here. Just a quick sneak peek. See ya.